This is Mark Baer. You're watching the YourTown television program. My guest is Lew Douglas from Urth Agriculture. That's URTH. And this is quite radical stuff that you're doing. And Lew, it's all organic, but you're concentrating on large-scale ag. Is that correct?
Even though our products are all organic, we work with many of the largest non-organic farms in the western United States. So if you think about it as an analogy, if we look back 25 years ago and thought about the grocery store business, and when we were in grocery stores, there were maybe 1, 2, or 3 different yogurts on the in the cold case aisle. Now when we go in the grocery stores, we see 30, 40 feet of this, many different yogurts, kefirs, raw milks, so on and so forth. And then when we turn around in that aisle, behind us, we're seeing probiotics and digestives and things like this. So this is all about building the health and vigor of our gut biome, our gut microbes. And we know now that when that environment is healthy, we are healthy, and it's not healthy, we are not, and if it's in terrible shape, we're on the borderline of dying. The exact same thing is starting to happen in agriculture. So this is about putting true fertility, bugs, if you will, microbes, if you will, bacteria, fungi, back into the soil. So this also could be thought of as biomimicry or nature-inspired.
So what's the genesis of the science of this? How did this, what was the light bulb moment that came on and said, we can do this for soil health?
It's a great question. This started years and years ago really with compost on the smaller organic farms, and now we're at a very exciting time in agriculture with precision agriculture, with drone and measurements and how much we irrigate, when, all those types of things. And that is also creating an opportunity to move into new technologies in the soil environment and better understanding the vigor and the both above ground and below ground environments. So this has really been driven by our own gut biome, and we realize what these benefits have had on us as a human species, and we're recognizing now the same benefits in the soil.
And then I know that when you go to some of these big growers, they're initially skeptical, as is the nature of the farmer.
Absolutely.
And that you have a very interesting business model, is that they don't pay you until they see progress.
Well, I think in general farmers
I'll let you explain that in your own.
No, you make a good point. I think farmers in general are very conservative, rightfully so. Things can go wrong in the field and you could destroy a whole crop, and that can be devastating for cash flow and the health and vigor of that farm, not only that crop, in the future. So what we've done is we offer a unique opportunity to, if you will, test drive the product on our dime. And so we go onto a farm and speak to the CEO and the farmer. We take some soil samples which allow them to better understand what's present in the ground and what's available to the plant. That starts this whole process of understanding this live environment in the soil and what it can mean to the bottom line. And then we create a specific protocol. Now, our products work in any existing system, so we don't ask for anybody to do anything different at all. We are here to, one, protect the existing cash flow and business model of the farm. Traditionally, input products or organic folks like myself would ask farms to do something different, and that's very difficult because the farmer knows how to put a crop on. He knows how to create that cash flow. So if you ask them to do something different, it jeopardizes that position.
And large-scale agriculture is probably even surprising to you how it all works.
Absolutely, really good point. So we don't want anybody to change a darn thing, put our product right on top, and then we pay for the product. We feel that confident and we're that knowledgeable about our product line and what it can do, only until we deliver results, which is an increase in production, an increase in the quality of that production as defined by bricks, which is an indication of the vigor of the plant. Does the farmer actually pay? So all on the backside. And then we make it very easy. We have folks driving around the state of California, Arizona, Oregon, and Washington up into Canada, where we plug and play into the irrigation system so that the farm doesn't even have to worry about that. We will help measure it, and again, then write up a protocol prior to starting applications and then post-harvest to help the farm better understand what we've been able to.
So your metrics either work or they don't work.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's black and white.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk about the results.
Well, we are lucky enough that we've got 28 different crops right now that we've shown very positive results on. It ranges anywhere from mid-teens in processed tomatoes all the way up to over 30% in some table grapes and wine grape environments. But it covers the full gambit from farms that we have here in the Central Valley, or Salinas Valley, Central Valley. We have orchards, row crops, specialty crops, and then in the Pacific Northwest we move into the potatoes and carrots and things like that. We work with large industrial organizations. We honor that. In the organic environment, a lot of people don't want to work with these large industrial farms. And from my perspective as CEO, I'm very appreciative of what we enjoy in this country and what farms have been able to create for all of us. It doesn't bother me anybody's existing growing practices. We're here to work with everybody within their system, kind of as Switzerland, to better show them what we can do in conjunction with their system. So, you know,
in other words, a prejudice against large agriculture isn't going to do anybody any good, because large agriculture is the way most people are going to get their food.
I think that is absolutely spot on, Mark. You know, a lot of people talk about biodiversity, we talk about all these things. I don't think on an industrial basis that's going to change anytime soon. I also believe, from a company perspective and a personal perspective, that if we force that issue of doing things in a radical sense, one, the farms are going to push back. This is private enterprise in this country. And two, it will drive the cost up to our produce. And last I checked, on a global basis, our produce is abundant, it's good, it's available, and it's inexpensive. And so the people that are hurt by radical changes within that are the people that can't afford those products. So
yeah, I can have I can afford my tomatoes from a little garden in the valley, but most people aren't going to get their tomatoes that way, or their strawberries, or their cucumbers, or their onions.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we make it about the bottom line, and the products are compatible with, as I said, with any growing environment. And over a long period of time, there are things that can be done to reduce cost in a significant manner. So at the beginning, we're just showing what our products can contribute to the bottom line, and then it starts to morph into changes in protocols if the farm wants to continue moving forward with that, and that has an enormous impact on their side of the ledger, if you will. We will sell product, but they have a number of things that they can do to really impact in a positive way their profits and things like that.
So let's go back to the science a little bit, and let's
Sure.
explain what biomimicry is, and how this is spawned by the idea of biomimicry. And I'm going to let you explain that to people.
So biomimicry is looking at processes and or characteristics of nature that we humans can mimic and adapt to a commercial environment. So if we think about the great production in a natural environment. We might think of the Olympic Peninsula or the great forests of the Pacific Northwest. We might think of the Great Plains here in the United States. Enormous production of biomass, if you will.
And their systems.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so that production of biomass is created by the complexity of those systems. In the Pacific Northwest, or the Great Forest, we have all of this rotting material. Actually, the largest living organism in the world is a fungi on the Olympic Peninsula. It's 25 square miles, discovered by a gentleman by the name of Paul Stamets, who's quite brilliant in this space. And so there's bacteria, there's fungi, there's all kinds of different predators that in the soil that break down that biomass and make it available to the plant, and thus we see these enormous hemlocks, Doug firs, cedars, and things like that. And that environment is not disturbed, if you will. And then if we look at the Great Plains, we ran, hundreds of years ago, enormous herds of buffalo on that, and the buffalo would graze the top of the grasses, which would excite the plant to become more vigorous and grow. We did not open that soil up, so we protected a lot of the, again, think of that microbiome of our personal bodies. We did not disturb that microbial life in that soil. They're very, very sensitive, actually, interestingly enough. They do not like UV sunlight. They do not like to be out in the open environment. It's very harsh, this environment that we live in, and the microbes don't like it as much. So this is really what's happened in those environments. We're bringing that kind of technology or those thoughts in and building products that incorporate these ideas. So our product, if you will, is our flagship product, which is a low NPK fertilizer, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That's what NPK stands for. It is 90 grams, so about a fistful of powder, activated in water, will treat 20 acres. Quite extraordinary.
Wow.
And there are three major boxes or three major components to that powder. Microbes as one box, if you will, and then carbon in the form of 8 different sugars as a food source for the microbes, along with kelp, and then minerals and electrolytes. And all these products are working together from a vibrational perspective, which gets back to the periodical chart, to create these enormous increases in production on the farms we work with. So I'm really excited. This is the way we will feed the world. This is the way I think all companies in the ag space are looking and or working on products that are similar. So it's a very exciting time.
It's revolutionary, and are people now seeking you out as a new company, as a young company? How's it going?
Well, great. I'm glad you asked that. 4 or 5 years ago, when we started this, it was very, very difficult. The terminology that I have heard many times historically is that there were snake oil salesmen in the ag market. This is coming full circle, and I have visited with senior agronomists in the industry that 4 or 5 years ago were not keen in this type of technology, to now they're realizing that it's all about the vigor of the plant. And if the plant is in very good health, then driven by that growing environment, which is the soil really is the greatest farmer of all, then that plant has the ability to put on or to rely on its genes, if you will, to put on a lot of production, to withstand stress in changing climate environments and things like that. So there are many, many benefits. It's almost three-dimensional as we move forward in this space, what can happen actually on a farm with watershed. The USDA has a number of really interesting stats out there. If we can increase the organic soil material in the soil by 1% per acre, that's 25,000 gallons of additional water holding capacity. That's enormous, absolutely enormous. And so that breakdown of that organic material goes hand in hand with the microbial action, if you will. So again, this is all getting back, if you think about some of the things I'm talking about, getting back to the old growth forest, getting back to the Great Plains, getting back to the forests in South America. These are dynamic environments that are working as a cycle, if you will.
And you are located now in Monterey.
We're located here in Monterey, which is super exciting. We've got a number of farms. There's some incredible companies growing a lot of incredible products that are interested in always driving the envelope. And we're recommended more from farm to farm now. And like I said, we offer this riskless trial where it's on our dime. So it's an exciting time for us, and I think it's an exciting time.
How do people find you now? Let's talk about the URTH.
Yeah, we are earthagriculture.com. And on that website, my phone number is there as a contact, and one just calls directly into me. I have an extraordinary team, and they back me up, but I will pick up the call, and we'll go from there.
Great. And so the future looks bright for this. What's the one thing that you want people to know that they might be, if they're hesitant, what's the one takeaway that you want to give them before we're out of here?
You know, I'm very excited about the future, and I think that there's been a lot of press about how are we going to feed the world long term, and how are we going to protect our watersheds and our environments, and so on and so forth. This really is it, no doubt in my mind. Again, if we think of that analogy of our own gut microbe system, the exact same thing is happening in the soil, and this will allow us to feed the additional billions of people. It will allow us to do that in a responsible manner, and I think all companies in this space recognize that and are moving that direction.
So you're thinking big.
We are indeed.
Lew Douglas, Urth Agriculture, my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mark.
And I'll have you back, and we'll continue this as we learn more, as the results come in.
I'd enjoy that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. You're watching the YourTown television program, and we shall return.